All right, everybody. What's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is Michael with Fit Dad's live stream today. We've got Chris is going to be joining us a little bit later, but we definitely wanted to start on time today. So let's just get right into this. So today, topic of discussion, something that Chris and I have been talking about over this last week that he's been reading about himself, and I've looked into on the social media side of things, is the whole notion of uh, can you sweat fat away? Can you burn fat by simply sweating, right? Like how does that correlate? And it seems to be something that is said that you can just simply sweat, and that in and of itself is burning the fat. If that's making sense, not lose weight by sweating, not burn calories by sweating, but actually actively burning fat through sweating. Can that does that happen? So we're going to kind of dive into that today, and hopefully give you enough to come away with your own conclusion. I have mine. I had mine from as a shooting from the hip kind of opinion when me and Chris first started talking about it, and then also then after I did some reading and some research on it, I've got then my what I would call my educated opinion on it. But ultimately, they're all opinions, and they don't mean crap. So if you're one of the ones that are going to get butt hurt by watching this, I simply don't care. Your opinion doesn't mean any more to me than mine does to you. So you're here. If you're here, enjoy it. If you don't like what we have to say, just click off, move on. Nobody cares. I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just here just kind of impart my personal knowledge onto those who care to listen. That's all I can ask for. It's just that simple respect and return. So let's just dive right into it. So what I've got here is I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this comes up well. I've got an article that was very interesting on the whole fat burning thing as far as that, how it correlates with just sweating in and of itself. Do you burn fat by sweating? So I've got this article. Let's go through it. It's from a guy, written by a guy who is uh, far more uh, seasoned and more of an expert than I am. So I'm gonna go ahead and take more of his word over my opinion and draw a conclusion that way. In and amongst everything else I read. So let me bring it up here. Let's see. Hold on. See, let's see. Titus has got a comment here. I was going to show y'all. You should see the pockets of fat that sweat out of my. I appreciate you censoring that. Appreciate that. We all know uh, exactly what Tyus is talking about, and I can't agree more. Uh, man, this Texas heat ain't no bullshit. My God, if if I could burn fat, and this is of course I'm almost like preemptively giving the answer to the question of this whole live stream before we get started. But if I could burn fat simply by sweating, I would be the most chiseled son of a bitch on this planet. The way we work out here in Texas, and the way the temperatures are during the summer Texas months. So I think Titus would agree, as evidenced by his comment there. So thank you for that, Titus. That's a trip. Anybody who's joining us on live, I want to thank y'all for hopping in. Anybody join us on playback, I can't thank you enough as well. You guys are amazing. You're the reason why we keep doing these streams. You're the reason why I keep trying to continue this content, pushing it out to to our little community. Hopefully, that community continues to grow. It's grown over the last year. This channel has grown as well as Chris's. So we're just trying to grow a bigger community. So we appreciate everybody who shows up and comes through, whether it's on playback or live. Both both ways are perfectly fine, and we appreciate every bit of that support. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to share my screen, and let's take a look at this article talking about fat burning through sweating. Hold 1 second. And I think we have it. So let's make sure. I'm going to make sure on my monitor here so I know what you guys are seeing. Yep, perfect. Okay. So first and foremost, right here at the top, sweat has nothing to do with losing fat. Now, the author of this article that I've got here is Kevin Richardson, as you can see. Kevin, I'd appreciate if you put some draws on, but fine, sure. Superman shirt is great. Obviously, you tell by looking at him, dude's jacked. I'd rather him wear pants and go ahead and take off the shirt and show off the chest and all arms. But okay, Kevin, we're with you. He's a celebrity personal trainer, international fitness consultant for UNICEF. Can't tell you what that means, guys. Founder of Naturally Intense High Intensity Training, lifetime drug free bodybuilding champion, online personal trainer. Um, yeah, online personal trainer. And I believe in this article, he mentions how long he's been at it, which is 28 years. So, dude knows his stuff. So, let's see what dude has to say. One thing that stood out to me was this line right here. So he goes, it's a wonderful idea, but I can tell you with certainty over the 28 years that I've been working with men and women to help them lose weight as a personal trainer that burning fat from sweating is absolutely impossible. Impossible. Not improbable, impossible. So let's go down. This is more of an introduction here. Then he gets into his actual article and explaining things. I'm not going to read all this word for word. That's boring as hell. But I'm going to read some of it out and read through so you can kind of see where my opinion was formed. This was one of the numerous articles I read, but this was the one that I don't know, enjoyed the most, thought it was the most entertaining, and really the most succinct, even though it's still quite a long article. Sweating won't help you burn fat is his next, I guess, header. Sweating has nothing to do with fat burning. First line right out of the gates. And there's no relationship between how much you sweat and how much fat you burn. If sweating meant losing fat, we wouldn't have a growing obesity problem here in the United States. And I'm gonna stop right there. It made me laugh because I'm thinking, well, hell yeah, because let's be honest, how many obese people, morbidly obese and terribly overweight people do you see sweating balls, y'all? Sweating balls. If sweating alone burned fat, we wouldn't be obese. So anyway, as every summer, everyone would just sweat off the extra pounds. Yes, he goes on to say, if that was the case, if we could just sweat and lose fat, we wouldn't have an obesity problem because every summer we just sweat and lose the weight. There wouldn't be anyone overweight living in the tropics. Nope. I grew up in the Caribbean, and trust me that this is not the case. As rates of obesity are on par with the rates here in the United States, even though you are always sweating as you step out as you step out of the shower, no doubt. Texas summers prove that. Let's see. Let me switch back here. I got Titus. Let's see. Let's see, another comment. We'd be straight diced up here in Texas, although the Southern diet certainly doesn't help. No, Southern diet does not help. We have some damn good food down here in the South. But if in fact sweating would trim off that fat, that diet wouldn't make a damn lick a sense. It wouldn't be a problem anyway. So let's see here. It would be a little. So how do we know that sweating doesn't burn fat? A look at the biology behind it clearly shows that sweat and fat burning have no relationship whatsoever. So he continues to reiterate this point. Okay. And I mean, you have to understand, if there was any question whatsoever in these articles that I've read, including his, there would be some sort of a balance in in the writing, right, in the opinions that are stated. But he continues to reinforce and says it in 5, 6, 7 different ways that um, it's impossible. There is, and in here, sweat and fat burning have no relationship whatsoever. He said it so many other different ways. Sweat or perspiration is what, if you want to be a bit more technical, occurs when your body excretes water and dissolved salts from your sweat glands, along with a small amount of, don't even ask me to, I know it's only like a 4 letter word there, but I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I guess I could try. Uri. If it's mispronounced, make fun of me. I don't care. Hit me up in the comments. Yep. Sweating is the way in which your body regulates body temperature so we don't overheat, as the evaporation of sweat from the skin's surface uh, has a significant cooling effect on the body. Exactly. And that's the point I wanted to kind of get to, is that sweating doesn't mean you're burning fat. It means you're hot. That's your body's thermostat. It has nothing to do with fat burning. Again, going back to the little obesity quip that I had, for every obese person you've seen just sweating balls, why aren't they burning fat? It's because there's no correlation there. You simply sweat because you're hot or your thermostat is kicking in. Basically, your internal thermostat. It's not burning fat. It has nothing to do with it. I know people, I'm an easy sweater, right? Like I sweat easily and I sweat profusely, right? And so if that was the case, you have these different kinds of people. So I would be the most cut son of a bitch walking around on this planet because I'm an easy sweater, and me and all the other, you know, people who sweat profusely. And so that means, I walk into the gym and I start my workout, 5, 5, 7, 8 minutes into the workout, I could be sweating heavily already and then do all the time and then continue to sweat there throughout. If that was the case, like I say, I'd be cut as shit. And then unfortunately, wouldn't it suck for those who are like the hard sweaters, the one that don't really sweat a whole lot, maybe takes a little more to get that sweat kicked in. Again, it's just like that. The sweat has nothing to do with it. And also, let me add on top of this. So if you're working outside, running and playing, whatever, you're playing a sport outside, playing some football with your boys or your girls, girlfriends, yes. Anyway, you're going to be sweating profusely. But let's say you I don't know, do a quick 20-minute lift or something, quick 20-minute training session because you're low on time that day and inside of a well-cooled gym, and you don't even break a sweat. So you could tell me that working out and not breaking a sweat, it has nothing to do with fat at all. Like you burn no fat because you did not sweat. Please. During exercise, when your muscles heat up from exertion, you will sweat more. However, the amount of sweat has nothing to do with how much fat you burn or how effective your workout was. Agreed. The oft-heard post-workout expression, I had a good sweat, only means that your body did what it was designed to do while you're exercising, and really not much more. Some people naturally sweat less than others when training, as I was just saying, but this is not always an indication of how hard they were training. Again, not at all, because I can make you look like you didn't do nothing. If you train with me and I'm sweating like a pig and you're not a heavy sweater, I can make you look like a fool. But when in reality, we both did the same lift. We were partners. We lifted the same stuff throughout that whole lift. So it has no indication of any of that. A study conducted at Osaka International and Kobe universities in Japan found that men begin perspiring faster than women and tend to sweat twice as much as women while exercising, but that has no bearing on fat loss levels or exercise intensity. Agreed. It's just how our thermostat works. Has nothing to do with how much fat we burned in a given session or a given exercise. So it baffles me to think that we can be so fooled. I think as a society, we're easily fooled these days. Very easily fooled, and for multiple reasons. Because, in my opinion, we've been dumbed down, and then second, things are so crazy anymore, and so out of sorts that even like the intelligent folks, myself included, if I may pat myself on the back, I see myself as intelligent. Sometimes things are so confusing around you that you tend to be skeptical about everything. So you don't, if something was a truth, if truth smacked you in the face, you wouldn't know it was a truth or a lie because everything seems to be a lie. It's just a mess. But it is silly that I think that the whole sweat to burn fat may be partially rooted in how lazy we've become. Like we always, as a society, we're always wanting to do less and less to get more and more as far as like our body weight. Like we always want to, 30, 40 years ago, there wasn't all these pills and potions and stuff to that burn fat in your sleep and and burn fat this way, that, and the other, or trim this, or trim, or you know, target your core, target your thighs, target your butt. There was none of that stuff, right? And then as we got lazier and lazier, and our diet got crappier and crappier, more of these pills and potions come out promising all this bullshit. Let's see. Titus says here, could there could there be a relationship between sweating and effort when exercising, or possibly is a combination of effort and people's genetic propensity towards sweating? All right, let me reread that because those are two questions. Let's see, maybe wrapped up in one. But could there be a relationship between sweating and effort when exercising? So isolate that out, and you're asking, could there be a relationship between how much you sweat to what the effort was that was exerted during that exercise session? I don't know. And from what I just read, or from what we all just read and saw, no, there's not, because everybody's built differently genetically, even from a male and female perspective. Um, Men tend to sweat, I think he said, 2 times as much or more profusely than women. So when you could, be side by side and putting forth the same exertion through a training session, or possibly is a combination of effort and people's genetic propensity towards sweating. Hmm. Titus is smarter than me today. Either that or I'm not comprehending very well. Don't quite understand that question. Um, Possibly a combination of effort and people's genetic propensity. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Titus. Help me out, brother. Trying to make sure I'm answering your questions, or at least addressing them and giving you my opinion on them. Whether you classify anything I say as an answer or just simply an opinion. Looks like Chris is just starting to get connected. We're just going to keep moving. And when he gets connected, I'm going to pop him in. Where did the myth of sweating to burn fat come from? I think that's what I was just talking about. Where are the origins? Where is this starting? Where's it coming from? Every myth has its origins. My goodness, it's like I've read this before. And the myth that sweating helps you burn fat is no different. The problem stems primarily from observations of athletes in sports and standardized weightlifting weight classes. A boxer or wrestler, for example, knows that they will be mostly or most successful if they compete on the upper side of their weight class limit as opposed to the lower limit. Yes, of course. So, for obvious reasons, you would rather be in a ring weighing as much as you could if you're going to compete against someone else in such a physical sport. And the same logic applies to bodybuilding and physique related contests. Yes, absolutely. You want to be as big as you can be in your weight class. You don't want to be on the bottom end of that. Let me see if Chris, no, he hasn't hopped in yet. I'm going to switch between screens. Sorry, guys. Thus, a major part of preparation for a fight or a contest is making weight or getting down to your fighting weight. I see where he's going with this. So it has to do with sweating. I'm not saying you can't lose weight by sweating. That don't get that twisted up. I'm not saying you can't lose weight by sweating. You are not burning fat by sweating. And so he's about to explain this here. The goal is to fall right on the upper limit of your weight class at the weigh-in before your event. To get to their desired weight, athletes can spend hours in saunas and steam rooms or try to sweat out extra pounds by running or doing aerobic exercises while wearing layer upon layer of clothing. Yes, I've seen it. It is brutal, brutal. And while these athletes are clearly the elite levels, it is still extremely dangerous and extremely unhealthy to do that. So while I say that nobody should be doing it, I'm going to also say don't dare try it unless you have elite supervision and you are an elite level athlete, because it could net dangerous results. Now, Chris still not here. Okay. The human body is composed of almost 75% water. So it makes sense that if you need to temporarily shed a few pounds in a very short period of time, you should try and sweat as much as possible. But keep in mind that you are only losing fluids, not fat. Absolutely. You're only losing water weight. Fat burning is not even a component when you're talking about sweating. Bodybuilders and fitness models do the same to make weight and rid themselves of excess subcutaneous fluids to enhance the ripped to shreds. Yeah, to enhance the ripped to shreds look, since excess fluid under the skin can blur out muscle definition significantly. Man, I've got a whole lot of water weight. How about y'all? This ain't fat, this is water weight. The public saw this and, without the full story, erroneously credited these methods of sweating as much as possible for the tight and taut bodies sported by athletes and sometimes ridiculously chiseled bodies of physique related competitors and bodybuilders. The athletes uh, they observed doing this were usually in great shape, and so they too began covering up with layers of clothing while working out and going into saunas as a way of losing body fat. So that's where it came from. People thought that these folks were losing body fat in doing these sweat exercises, sweating. It wasn't, clearly, as we're reading, but he's explaining the origins. They didn't realize that the reduced fat was correlative. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I know what it's saying. Correlative. They didn't realize that the reduced body fat was, I would like to say, not correlated. Correlative. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird word. Uh, Not causative. Yeah. And that the reason why these athletes were in such great shape was the pains that they took with their diet and training. Absolutely. Purely diet and training had everything to do with what shape they were in. The excessive sweating just dropped the water weight. Not the hour or so spent off not the hour or so spent sweating off the extra pounds right before the event. Extra pounds that would uh, come right back on once they resumed drinking normally after their event was over within the course of a few hours. Yes, it just packed right back on. Your body would be like, it'd be like, you took a sponge and you squeezed it and you have it squeezed in your hand. So you've got tons of the water, most of the water squeezed out of it. And then go stick that thing under a faucet for just 2 seconds, soak it right up because it's dry as a bone. Your body's the same thing. It needs that water and it'll suck the water weight right back in. Um, Let me see. No, Chris still isn't with us. No big deal. Guys, we're doing a quick good show today, guys. And again, I want to thank everybody who's joining me live and on playback. Hopefully, this is going to be informative for y'all. And if not, at least entertaining. And if not, maybe you don't belong here. Sorry. Or you can try my other videos. I'm trying. It's a one-man show today. Got Bad Mother Trucker in the house. What's up, big dog? Big dog. Tyson, I know Bad Mother Trucker. Boy, we go way back. Just a side note, just because he jumped in, I felt like talking about it. This homeboy, I don't know about the rest of y'all out there, but man, we get down on some games, man. And I'm the gaming generation. Like I grew up when games were in their infancy, and I got to grow up and watch them advance quickly. So I'm the gaming. I'm the OG gamer, and I think Bad Mother Trucker here is the same, and Titus I know for sure. But anyhow, we've been gaming for years, and that's one of my homeboys that I just know him simply from online gaming. What a great community! What a great way to meet good people who have like-minded interests and things like that. It's just a good time. To other people on the outside of the game world, may think it's very corny or very nerdy or whatever you want to call it. But nah, I don't give a shit. I love gaming. It's a lot of fun, and this is one of my homeboys from online. So I appreciate you coming through, Bad Mother Trucker. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Catch it on playback if you can't catch it all. Just trying to impart a little bit of knowledge onto the fitness community, man. So back to the business at hand. Sweating doesn't burn fat, but it can hurt if you overdo it. It can hurt you if you overdo it, and that's exactly what we were talking about before. It's highly dangerous to lose the fluids like that, like the way these elite athletes do, to quote unquote make weight. The downside is that very often athletes suffer hypothermia, hyperthermia, not hypo. I want to make sure I enunciate. I sounded like I said hypo. Hyperthermia, heat exhaustion, or heat stroke. When the body produces more heat than it can dissipate, and your heat regulating sweat mechanisms are overwhelmed by the amount of heat generated. By exposing yourself to high temperatures or prolonged periods of time, in steam rooms without adequate hydration, you can suffer heat stroke. And that is very real and extremely dangerous. So, again, if nothing else, what I'm doing today is I'm trying to beat the point home that sweating does not lose fat. Because if people think that sweating will actually help them lose fat, they're more willing to risk these things. They will unknowingly risk their body if they're not educated enough. I'm not calling them stupid. I'm calling them just ignorant to the fact. I'm ignorant to many things. But if people think they can burn fat by simply sweating, they're going to go out and try to do these things. They'll stick themselves in saunas or not drink the water they're supposed to be drinking or go overheat, go put a bunch of clothes on like they see their favorite badass athletes doing. And you could kill yourself. It definitely damage organs on a long-term basis even. So you got to be careful with that. Also, by wearing too many layers while exercising and wearing plastic type materials, which I've seen athletes do, man, when I see that, I'm like, holy shit, I sweat for them. I sweat sitting down on the couch. Guess I'm burning fat sitting there. That interfere with the water evaporation process that cools you down. You can end up in trouble as well. Combined with a restriction in water intake, excessive sweating and overheating can adversely affect your heart, nervous system, heat regulation, kidney function, electrolyte balance, body composition, and muscular endurance and strength. Dear God, people, don't play with this shit. And so that's why, I'm doing this. I'm not trying to get too overheated about it and get all passionate and holler at people, but you know, I wanted this to stay light, and I'm trying to keep it that way. But guys, this is dangerous shit. Whenever you have a health and fitness industry that really has become an industry rather than turned into something that's actually supposed to help people, and it's become more of just turning a buck, turning a profit, how they can get your money and how they can fool you and into certain things. This is bullshit. This is dangerous stuff. And so when a industry actually can put out information that says sweating equals burning fat, that's, man, come on, guys. They've got to be liable, right? At what point do we really, at what point uh are they liable? Is it criminal or not? It just seems crazy. It's anyway, I'm not going to get too much because then I'll start going on a rant and we'll be here for another 30 minutes and I only have about 5-10 minutes left. It's gonna be a quick show, but informative. So much so that you run a real risk of ending up in an emergency room or worse. And I have unfortunately seen this happen quite often over the years among athletes who don't use who don't use diuretics. Some athletes, boxers, collegiate wrestlers, and bodybuilders have even died as a result, and isn't a practice anyone should try to emulate, as it really isn't worth it, given that there are so many other ways to reduce water retention without resorting to extreme practices. Thank you. It's exactly what I just said. He just said it better. That's why I'm reading this, guys. I've got a whole lot of opinions. Sometimes I can't get them across as clear as I like, and this guy's doing a better job than me. Sweating doesn't burn fat, so what does? So we have firmly established that sweating is a localized phenomenon. It doesn't make you burn fat or increase your metabolism. Let's see if Chris is he's Chris is here, but it looks like he's having connection issues again, and he looks very frustrated. Let me see if I'm going to add him to the stream. Chris, you with me, man? Oh, yeah. This dude's been having, if y'all been following us for the past couple of shows, this poor homeboy been wrestling with his computer and streaming equipment. Well, we're right here, Chris, if you can hear me. I can hear you fiddling around. I don't know if you can even hear me talking to you. But when you finally can hear me, I'm going to let you speak up. I'm going to continue, man. But we got Chris on, and we just lost Chris. No big deal. Let's keep moving. All sweating does is to help your body cool down and lose water. But if sweating doesn't make you lose fat, what does? There are no secrets, and it's your diet and training that you have to focus on to reduce your body fat and increase muscle definition. Period. End of story. The buck stops there, guys. I mean, and I didn't need him to tell me that, and most of my viewing audience didn't need him to say that either. We all already knew it. We all knew this was coming. But it's diet and exercise, diet and training. That's what burns fat, not sweating. In no shape or form is sweating burning fat. If anybody ever tells you that in any shape or form or any way that sweating burns fat, they're lying through their damn teeth, and they want you to buy something, and they're trying to fool you. They're trying to get one over on you in some way, because there's no other reason to tell you that, right? Why tell somebody such a falsity or a fraudulent thing? Why say it unless you're trying to take advantage of it? Because it's stupid. Sweating to burn fat. This comes from lifting weights as aerobic exercise. While a great way to work up a sweat, it isn't going to sculpt your body into a work of art. Right. Rethinking the need for cardio, and oh man, what did I do? I messed up. Let me go back. There we go. Oh, read my article. Okay, so he's just his article. For that, you need weight training of sufficient intensity while eating the foods that you need and avoiding the ones that you don't. Period. At the end of the day, how wet you are after training really isn't part of the equation. And while you shouldn't be afraid to sweat, know that if you didn't sweat too much after your last workout, it isn't necessarily an indication that you were not training hard enough. So don't sweat it. Clever. I like it. Let's see. We got Chris here, I believe. Let me add you to the stream here, Chris. We got you, partner? You here?
Would it even be a Fit Dad's live show if I wasn't late to begin with? Not only that, I spent 8 hours at the beginning of this week on this computer going through moving programs to the hard drive or to the external hard drive, clearing out the cache or whatever it's called, all the temporary files. I watched like 6 YouTube videos, followed them step by step, how to clean up. Because we used to run our shows smooth as butter, never had an issue.
Butter, man.
And now, all of a sudden, I can't even run like Google. Like the first time I came on and you saw me there, it said I was on Microsoft Edge. It said that they wanted access to my camera and microphone. I click allow, and then I hit enter studio, and then it's saying that there's still no access. And I'm like, oh my God. So then I finally get Chrome to open. And since I had gone through and cleared everything out, I had to verify myself. I had to sign back into everything and redo everything.
Of course.
I did all of that. And then I finally get connected, and I'm using my phone as my webcam, and the app that you use to do that couldn't decide whether it wanted to use the cable or go through my internet. I ran an Ethernet cable, and then I tested my download speeds, and I've got 2G Wi-Fi. My download speeds are around 100 megabytes per second. My upload speeds were like 10. And my Ethernet cable, it was about 125, 130 download versus 15 upload or something like that. My 5G Wi-Fi, which doesn't reach nearly as far, but it's a lot quicker if you're close enough to the router. 250 megabytes per second. And my upload speed is something like 35 megabytes per second. So, I mean, it's more than capable. We didn't even get the basic package because she's in school. So I made sure to get internet that was going to be adequate to, do whatever she needed to do. And, it was just, man. But, I didn't catch. I'll have to go back and rewatch the first half of the show since I wasn't there for it. I apologize to the viewers. I apologize, you guys. If anybody's here from the short that I put out last night as kind of a preview or, introductory into this stream. First of all, I want to thank the 2 people that subscribed, and I want to thank all the viewers and the people who left a thumbs up. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe to Michael's channel as well and leave a thumbs up for him for holding down the stream while I was getting my technical difficulties under control. Maybe we should just rename the show Technical Difficulties.
We could. It'd be fun.
If Quarter Black Garrett, his show is called that already, so I guess we can't really. I guess we could call it 2.0 or something.
We could do something like that, because at least then we would mitigate expectations, right? I mean, they would realize, okay, we expect some technical difficulties. These guys are fun.
I just hate running off my phone. When we would stream off my computer, when I'm in as the guest, for some reason I can't take part in the chat unless I open a separate window and go to YouTube and go to the video rather than going through StreamYard. I can chat with you in the private, private studio.
Yeah.
But I can only look at the comment, or it calls them comments on StreamYard. But as the host, I can take part in chat. But I used to be able to run our show, the app that runs my camera, and 2 or 3 other programs like nothing. And now all of a sudden this computer is just, I can't, there's no viruses. Less than half of the hard drive is used up. According to the data on the task manager, only 15% of the RAM is being used. I have no idea. I even went through Chrome specifically and cleared out, because Chrome will build up its own garbage that slows Chrome specifically down. And I went through and redid all of that as well.
Gotcha.
But I guess the next step, I'm just going to do a backup onto the hard drive, wipe the computer, and start from ground zero.
Might need to, man. Might need to.
But back to the topic at hand, not to interrupt you with my, I was losing my mind.
So what I did is I already took everybody all the way through the entire cycle of, kind of where we stood on the whole. First, the initial question was, like I said, sweat equals burning fat. It's fact or fiction, basically. I already covered my personal opinion on it. I already went over the research. and read over an article of a very reputable source. So everybody knows exactly, at least if they didn't already know, they know now that sweating absolutely and just simply does not burn fat. Period. It's impossible. That is not what is occurring in the body whenever you sweat. We were very clear that that you can lose weight by sweating. There is a major difference between losing weight and actually burning fat. So sweating, that mechanism is actually having you're losing water weight, and that mechanism is to cool you down. And if you sweat profusely and sweat a lot, as some of these elite athletes will do, and I've also recommended that nobody try that crap at home because it's dangerous. But sweating profusely, yeah, you're going to lose a ton of body weight, and you'll trim up. You'll have a trimmed up look, right? You're not going to lose the fat. Now, if you still have that fat over the muscle, all it's going to do, you're just going to lose your water weight. So, but these elite athletes, they don't have much fat. So then when they just lose that water weight, they look shredded. So we've kind of gone over that. So since you've hopped in the stream, I was actually going to be wrapping it up within the next 5-10 minutes or so, but I want you to be able to give kind of what your thoughts are on it, because I mean, this is our show. We're in this together. So let the people hear from you, man.
Well, I mean, you pretty much nailed it all down, but just to add to that, basically there's a layer of water in between your skin and your muscles. So that's why bodybuilders, whenever they're, like the IFBB pros especially, but most all bodybuilders, whenever they're getting ready for a show, they'll dehydrate. They use compounds that get rid of their water weight.
Right.
And what that does when they dry out like that, it makes their muscles more defined. It shows more definition because it's kind of like it's not really the same, because getting rid of water weight is as simple as sweating it out, whereas getting rid of fat, you have to enter into a calorie deficit and actually use that stored energy. But in the same way, whereas you want to get abs, you have to get rid. See, like we've been through this on previous shows, everyone already has abs. It's getting them to show. Your abs are covered by fat, so you don't, quote unquote, have abs. But it's the same kind of principle, I guess, with being really waterlogged. You'll be bloated, So when people sweat or just dehydrate, regardless, that layer in between the skin and the muscle becomes smaller and smaller.
Right.
So it's basically it's the same kind of principle in that there's a layer of something between your skin and your muscles that's hiding the abs or your obliques or whatever you're trying to get to show. But when it comes to getting rid of whatever layer that is, it's two completely different ball games. So you may sweat while you're burning that energy, but just because you're sweating a lot does not mean that you're burning a lot of energy. It will. It's a good sign that you're burning energy. I mean, especially if you're working out, if you're running, or if you're doing cardio, something like that. It is a good sign that you are burning energy, but the amount of sweat, see, I will pour sweat. I've always been like, I sweat like crazy. I have to put that Gold Bond powder in my shoes because my feet are always sweaty. I have to do I sweat like crazy. If I go mow the yard, I'll come in and pull my shirt off and it's just soaked. I can wring it out. But I also drink probably 10 of these every day. And this is 20 ounces. But you're supposed to drink an ounce of water for every pound of body weight, which that would be 200 ounces for me. So, but yeah, I was just going to add to that. Just I kind of maybe had misled a few people when I shared the link on Facebook. I said we were going to bust a few common fitness myths and, discuss things with the chat. But that is one of the main myths among people that are either just getting started or aren't familiar with fitness or, being healthy overall, is that they believe that going and sitting in a sauna is going to make them, burn fat.
Right.
I mean, they'll say lose weight, and they will lose weight. I've seen YouTube videos where they'll weigh themselves before they go in, and then they weigh themselves when they come out. But that doesn't mean they burned any fat. It only means that they've lost water weight. So that, I feel like that is a really big fitness myth, and there's several of them out there. Lift big to get big.
Yeah.
I'm sure. My mind is all scattered right now because I was trying to deal with this garbage technology.
I hear you, and man. Don't worry. But I got some comments here that maybe we can address here in the chat. So we got another homeboy of mine back in the day, man. This dude Chris Diggs here. I went to high school with this cat. Well, middle school even. We go way back. So Chris, thanks for joining the stream. And he says, I got to start training. I have issues losing weight now because of thyroid issues. So Chris, I don't know if you've caught, the show today over the sweating versus losing fat. But if you didn't catch the whole show and you're interested in it, of course, go and catch it on playback. There's a lot of good information there. But this is kind of a separate topic. And so basically, let's see. So it looks like, Chris, you're saying, man, you want to get started training. So obviously you've taken some time off because I do know you, and I know that back in the day we trained, man. I mean, that's all we had time to do when we was in high school, man. We were just trying to chase skirts, and so you had to look sharp to do it. So you trained, played football, did those things. So I know that you have it, you had it in the past. So what's going to go to your benefit, and I know that Chris, my co-host here, will agree, is that you're going to have that muscle memory. You've been there, done that. So you've lost it, and you want to get it back. Yes. We are now in our 40s, fellas. We are there, at least Chris and I. But that doesn't matter, bro. Muscle memory is a miraculous thing. The body is genius, and do not let that discourage you, brother. Get in the gym and start moving, partner. And I'll tell you right now, if you get a hold of me personally, I'd be happy to set you up on some training. I'd be happy to train you. Period. End of story. We could train together. I enjoy having training partners. But anyway, you're saying that you have issues losing weight because of thyroid issues. I completely understand that. Thyroid issues and making it complicated for people to lose weight is a very common issue. Hypothyroidism is a real thing, and it will help a lot. Really, a lot of people that I know deal with thyroid issues. Honestly, it seems to be more prevalent than I think those who have the thyroid issues even know. But yes, man, I could definitely go on forever on the thyroid issues. And I know that it does hinder you, but I can also say that the thyroid is not going to keep you out of the gym, and it's not going to keep you from having a good diet, and it will not keep you from getting strong. It may actually hinder you from losing maybe as much body weight or mass or fat as you would like. But the body is a miraculous thing. It was made miraculously. And so it is genius in it. And we can work you through it, man. As long as you're being treated well by a physician, obviously, and probably on Synthroid or something like that to help with the thyroid issue. But anyway, I'm sitting here just talking like I'm talking to an old friend, and Chris is sitting here listening. Chris, what do you think about this? He's saying he wants to get started training, but he has trouble losing weight because of thyroid issues.
Well, I was kind of researching in the background, but my fiance actually there was a whole chapter over hypothyroidism, Hyper. Okay, so hypo is that means your thyroid is not releasing enough of a certain hormone, which in turn lowers your metabolism, makes you gain weight. She studied also about a lady, or really, she was like 27 or 28, I believe this person was, and she ended up having a tumor, and it showed a tumor on her thyroid, and it showed her before and after pictures, and she was literally 3 times the size that the weight, and in the picture the size that she was in the before picture within, I believe it was like 18 months, something ridiculous, because I can't remember which hormone it was, but rather than it not releasing enough, her thyroid was actually releasing way too much of what is it that the diabetes patients have to take?
Insulin.
Yes, it was releasing way too much insulin into her blood, and it caused her appetite to spike like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do know a tiny bit about that. She would probably remember more, but I was just kind of looking at, treatment workarounds, way to manage it, basically. So what I would have to ask is Chris, are you using the synthetic thyroid hormone, the one that's called levothyroxine or Levo-T, Synthroid, or something like that? Any of those? Any of the kind of management medications already?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. If you're still with us, I'd just shoot us an answer in the chat. I would think so. Synthroid is one of the more common ones that are used with thyroid patients, and seems to be the most effective. Now, how much I love the medication, that's a different opinion, different story, different stream. But it seems to be the medication that's used more prevalent than that I know of anyway. But I do absolutely know, and to add on to what you're saying, Chris, hypothyroidism does add a level of difficulty to this entire health and fitness, universe to somebody. It can be very, very frustrating. Hypothyroidism. It does hinder you in ways that a lot of people who don't either suffer from it themselves or don't know about it won't fully understand. It does hold you back in some ways. But I'm not also saying that to just give somebody an excuse to say that, oh, it holds you back, so you've got that excuse. No, it's no excuse. But it's just another hurdle you have to jump that someone like me doesn't have to. But we all have hurdles, right? I've got my own issues. I'm sure Chris has his own issues as well.
Yo.
We all have hurdles.
I found, okay, this is from everydayhealth.com. I also saw that he said, that he is on the medication or the synthetic hormone. So as far as that goes, with any kind of medication, no matter what it is, I would always recommend the minimal effective dosage. You want to put the least amount of stress on your organs that is necessary. And I believe that it said that it was an oral medication. So anything that you consume is going to be going through your kidneys and your liver. So it will be taxing on, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's ibuprofen or Tylenol. It doesn't matter what kind of medication it is. Anything, even foods, lots of foods going through your digestive system, your kidneys and your liver are filtering out all the toxins. So the less stress you put on those, the better. But from everydayhealth.com, and you can Google this yourself if you would like to, but I have stressed this in so many of my videos and many of our live streams, but it points out, there's just a little snippet from the article. It says people with hypothyroidism can also benefit from strength training. Exercises such as lunges, leg raises, push-ups, or those involving weight training machines. Strength training builds muscle mass, and muscle mass burns more calories than fat, even when you're at rest. And I have expressed that so many times before. And that will help you, especially compounded with the fact that you have that muscle memory. If you go into the gym, also, I would go to the doctor and have your testosterone levels checked just to know where you're at. Don't even if they recommend it, do not get on TRT yet. Yeah, I don't care if you're 50 years old, don't do it yet. Wait and see. Go train for 6 months. Oh, you're already on test. Okay, that's cool then. Okay, so you're already on test. Just don't even worry about cardio for the first few weeks, I would say. I mean, you can do, I don't know if you're overweight, obese, or morbidly obese. I don't know where you're starting at really, so it's hard for me to gauge like where exactly you should start with cardio. You definitely do want to do cardio at some point, but just starting off, I would start small, maybe 1 to 2 days a week, and slowly progress and work. You want to work a routine into your, normal routine. Basically, you want to work an exercise routine into your normal or weekly routine.
Yeah.
That way, you're not just jumping into the fire and trying to do it. Oh, I'm 5 days a week at the gym now and doing everything all at once. Because if you do that, you might see results for a little bit, but you are a lot more likely to stop or quit because it's too much all at once. And some people, one person out of 100 will actually stick to it. But as for most humans, the way our minds work is making a habit by, just starting small, like going to the gym. You don't even have to go to the gym. If you can do push-ups, you can start with just push-ups. That's what I did. I remember I could only do, I think, 12 or 14, something like that, push-ups. And I would do I think I remember the very first day that I started working out again. And it was like, when I say again, I mean, after a period of like 10 years of just doing drugs, basically. I think I did like 3 sets of 14 or 15 push-ups. 20% body fat, dude. That's pretty cut. Like, that's real. That's healthy. 15% is ideal, but how tall are you? See, if you're 230 pounds but you're 6'6", then that's average.
No,
but
yeah. Diggs, how tall are you, man? I remember, Diggs wasn't extremely tall. We wanted a short dude. I'd say he's between 5'10" and 6 foot. Am I right, Chris? Let us know, man. Because that
if you're, if you were 20% body fat even at my height, 6'3" and 230 pounds, you would look jacked, bro. You would look pretty jacked. A lot of people underestimate their body fat percentage. And if you don't know who Coach Greg is, you need to check him out. Just type in Coach Greg on YouTube. I would recommend starting with his older videos rather than his most recent ones, because his most recent ones are more drama and, natty or nots and stuff like that. Whereas his older videos are more informational and will teach you more. Not to say that it's new. Like some of his new. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I recommend is that he go and look at our videos. I think
that as well.
Between our videos, we have we have a good library that's going to help him get started. The thing is yeah, so he's 5'11". Okay, so 5'11", 230 pounds. Chris, I'd like to see you, man. I'd like to see you, and I definitely would love the opportunity to try to train you or help you, even if we have to do it remotely. Um, but I mean, I feel your pain. I mean, I get it. We all are trying to achieve goals, and so when I say I feel your pain in that, it's an everyday thing. I can't stop working out and expect to be in the same shape either. So I've got to do something consistently, and that's all I'm asking you to do is do something consistently. Ultimately, consistency always wins. As soon as you kind of get off track, that's when things start to kind of unravel. And hypothyroidism or not, we can get you there. There is not a doubt. I might be. Let's see. He says,
What doses of tests are you running?
yeah, I might be 25% then. Had a lot of weight in my gut and face. Okay. So
See,
yeah,
I would, if I could get a picture of it. I'm sure you've got muscle. I'm sure that you're probably really strong still. You're probably got muscle that's covered up by fat. So I'm not doubting, you know, your, you know, you're
well,
saying that you need to get back into training. You got the hypothyroidism. Everything I'm looking at is pointing towards doing strength training, and I would recommend hypertrophy training to be the focal point, but a well-rounded routine would be ideal once you're into it. But I mean, if you train with Michael, you'll get into the the more oh my gosh, brain fog. Part of my appearance is gut issues. Well, see, everybody stores their fat in different areas, so that's genetic. It's genetic, and we did a show a month ago, I believe, that it talked about the differences in hypertrophic and hypercellular obesity. So infants and young children are able to actually reproduce and multiply their fat cells, whereas once you're an adult, you're only able to increase the size of the fat cells that you already have. So primarily where you store your body fat is genetic, but it can also be affected by the diet that you had as an infant and a young child.
so he's put here what his dosage is on his test, and
Are you
so
using a cypionate or an enthate, or using a shorter ester? Because that's that's a decent dose. I would personally, especially just starting out in the gym or working out, whatever you decide to do. Like I said, I would just start doing some push-ups and maybe go outside and do some lunges. You're going to be sore as hell. And the
oh
smaller
hell
you
yeah.
start, the less sore you will be. And then, you just add on a little bit each week. And it's like I told my buddy, he used to be my gym buddy and my cameraman. I used to do gym videos all the time, but he's working 2 jobs and he finally just stopped showing up. But I told him, I was like, dude, 1 day a week is better than nothing. 1 day every 2 weeks is better than nothing. It's
Agreed.
ideal to get 3 days a week at least in, but 1 day a week is still miles better than nothing all year.
Well, and Chris, as you always know, I'm always going to say consistency wins all the time. 1 day a week, fine. You've got 1 day a week. Just do that consistently. And so that also brings me back to what Chris said here. He says, when he was talking about where he holds his fat, he said, my gut always looks really bloated, but if I do keto, it flattens out. So what that's telling me is that you're inconsistent with your diet, right? I'm just going to just shoot it right straight for you. So you're telling me that if you take on keto and you get more strict on your diet, that stomach, that belly fat tends to go away, or the belly flattens out. But so what I'm telling you is that if you're gonna do a a diet, you're gonna end up failing. Period. End of story. It needs to be a lifestyle. It needs to be something that can stay consistent, right? And so if you're doing keto just to pick up and try to drop a few pounds, and then as you get off of it, you realize, well, you see that you gained it right back. Well, that's why. And so that's what sucks. I think that's demoralizing when you have the roller coaster ride of of cut to thicker, cut to thicker, cut to thicker, always an up and down. And because you're trying new diets or trying the keto off and on, what you need to do is you need to find one and stick to it. Just stick to moderation, stick to a good, healthy diet. I'm not saying go stick to keto. I'm saying you're saying it works, but if you can't stick to it, if you can't actually stick to it, which it doesn't seem like you have, then don't do it. You should find something that you can stick to. Chris, tell me, I mean, chime in here, man. Am I lying?
No, absolutely. I wouldn't even worry about diet to start off if I were you. I didn't personally. First, I would get your workout routine in order. I mean, obviously, you want to be conscious of your diet. You don't want to be gorging yourself on entire pizzas every day or anything crazy. Try to, eat at least somewhat healthy, but you don't have to worry about counting your calories and checking all your macros. Just make sure you're eating enough protein. You can throw in some protein shakes if you want, but first you need to focus on your working out, your routine, what kind of routine you're going to set up, what days you're going to work out. You've got a life to live. I don't know if you're a father, a husband. I don't know if you have a family, but I'm assuming you probably got a job that you'll have to work around. So there's so many things that you also have to factor in and work around in order to, become a healthier person. And it's not just about being healthier either. It's when you're healthier, you feel better. You're naturally happier. I noticed that, within the first 6 months of when I started working out. And there was something else I was going to say. But like I said, the test cypionate, you said you're using test sip. If I were you, rather than doing 2 doses each week, I would drop it to 100. I'm assuming it's test sip 250. If it's test sip 200, which is 200 milligrams per milliliter for those that don't know, I'm assuming you do know. Whatever it is, you got to factor in your math. I would drop it down because test cypionate has a half-life of 7 to 9 days. So I would go 100, maybe 125 milligrams every 5 days. That's what I do personally. Every 5 days. And then if you factor that in, 100 milligrams divided by 5 is 20 milligrams per day. Times that by 7, and you get what your weekly dosage is, which would be 140 milligrams a week. But at every 5 days, that's right as that half-life is starting to come down, you're getting your fresh dose, and that keeps your test levels the most stable. At least in my experience and from what I've also learned from others. About every 5 days, at least with both cypionate. You could even switch it to every 6 days with cypionate because it has a slightly longer half-life than an enthate. But I just don't feel like it's necessary to poke yourself that often, twice a week. I know for me, it's a pain in the ass, and I'm not just talking physically, pun intended, but it gets to be a nuisance
Absolutely.
after a while. But anyway, back to
Well,
if you've been just like a couch potato, you haven't been doing anything, start doing some push-ups, and then after that, you can grab a chair and do some chair dips, and then maybe find you a pull-up bar. If you're not able to do pull-ups, you can either hang and use your leg, because I don't know about you, but most doorways in most houses, I like when I'm 6'3", and whenever I would hang my pull-up bar on the door, my knees would hit the ground at full extension, because I would have my legs crossed and curled up and to do pull-ups. But anyway, get you a resistance band. Don't get a cheap one. Get a good resistance band, the loop ones. Either put your foot through it or wrap it around your knee, and that'll help you get out of that bottom part of that pull-up, but it forces you to complete the rep as you get to the top of the pull-up. And when I first started, I could barely do one pull-up, and I used that method. I would do a set with the resistance band at the gym, and then I would do as many as I could with no resistance band, and then with 30 seconds rest or so, go back, and then get back on the resistance band and just pump it out, kind of like a drop set.
yeah.
But just small changes over time, and just slowly but surely add things in, because if you bite off more than you can chew, you're just going to get burnt out really fast, and you're going to want to quit.
100%. But Chris, let me take you back to your comment here. You're saying it's hard to stick to a diet with 6 kids and a wife. Chris, asked the question: do you have any kids, wife, family, house, career? So yeah, I mean, I get that. So your comment, like I say, you say it's hard to stick to a diet with all of that. Need to make my own meals. Um, yes, Chris, it is hard. And what I will say is that I'm just going to say it's not impossible. Um, and I try my best to be sympathetic to everybody that I come across. I mean, I feel your pain in one way or the other. I try to connect with you in that way, but I'm also going to just shoot straight and say that we can all make excuses and give reasons why we can't get things done. But I think when we really, really want something, we find a way. And so in this case, I think it's not going to happen for you until you decide for yourself. There's nothing I can say here today to motivate you, or nothing Chris can say to motivate you. You have to decide for yourself if you are prepared to do what it takes to succeed. You've had some limited success in the past. Like you said, you've yo-yoed on and off of your keto diet, and you seem to see that stomach kind of slim and trimmed down. But what I'm looking for, and what I'm going to always coach, is consistency. So if you have to push yourself to do it, or if you have to really stretch hard, right, or take yourself far out of your comfort zone in the beginning, don't get it twisted. As we get more advanced, I'm going to expect you to push and go past your comfort zone. But in the beginning, I need you to be nice and comfortable with this. Find a lane, stick to it, and then what you're doing is you're teaching yourself mentally and emotionally that you are capable of consistency. Well, you're always capable of consistency. You can be consistently inconsistent, or you can be consistent at something. So the capability has always been there. We just got to tap it and put it in the right direction, right? Don't want to get too philosophical, but it's the truth, man. Consistency is always going to win. It never fails. So I get it. You got 6 kids, you got a wife, you got a career. It's tough, but you can do it. 100% you can do it. Titus here has a good comment in as a reply to you, Chris. He was talking about look at the Whole30 diet, basically just eat real whole foods. So you can read that comment, and I agree with it. Try to stay away from the packaging, the packaged and the processed foods. It's just, eating right is simple. I'm going to take a little thing from what Titus said here. Simple enough. Eating right is simple, but it's not easy, right? It is simple though. It is simple, and people you can get that confused, and I think Chris would agree. It's simple but not easy. So he says that he's going to try those test injections as you stated, Chris, and he says, okay, let's see. Good for you, Chris. I have sex every day with the wife, so I am somewhat physically active. I have a treadmill in the garage and a cage with free weights as well as a pull-up bar, punching bag, and power block. So you've got something to lift with. You're physically active. You move around. You're not sedentary. So
you can do push-ups.
You can get it done. So get in touch with me, man. I want to bring this plan in for a landing because I've went far over what I can do today. So just get in touch with me. I can train you virtually or in person. It doesn't matter, and I can help you all the way from diet to exercise, and so can Chris if you're going to be following both of our channels.
Yeah, make sure, Chris, to go subscribe to my channel because 2 weeks from today, the show will be hosted on my channel. So I don't know if Michael's already got it in the description.
I do.
But immediately after the show is over, I will come back and leave a comment, and you can find my channel that way, or you can just type in Fit Dad Chris, and Chris has no H, just CRIS. And I've got like 246 subscribers now, so. And I would appreciate the subscription. And then if you turn on all notifications, you'll get the notification when our next show will be. And yeah, just as far as the diet goes, I've never been on like any kind of diet. I was more kind of, at the end of the day, what's going to determine what or if you're going to lose weight or how much weight you're going to lose is calories in, calories out. Any kind of food you're eating, or what a lot of people don't realize are drinks, sodas, juices, even Gatorade, is energy. It's got energy. That's what calories are. A calorie is a measurement of energy. And when you consume more energy than you're using, that energy is stored as body fat. So in order to get rid of that body fat, you have to consume less energy than you are using. That forces your body to use the stored body fat. So it doesn't matter what kind of diet you're on. All that matters is that you maintain a calorie deficit. But with that, I appreciate everybody dealing with my technical difficulties. Michael, I appreciate you once again for having me on the channel.
Absolutely, man.
We'll have to do something about that number system. I'll do it on the next show. I'll count how many shows we've done so far, and then I will on our next show I'll put a hashtag. One of the hashtags will be the number, and then I will also put it in the title. So
sounds good, man. Well, guys, you know the routine. Go down, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Chris and I both thank each and everybody who showed up here live and showed up on playback. We greatly appreciate the support, and we're looking forward to catching y'all again on the next show. And that's 2 weeks out, guys. It's going to be on Chris's channel, so make sure to go down to that description in this video, in this live stream or playback, however you're watching it. Go to the description, click on the link. You go straight to Chris's channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another show. So we're going to end it here, guys. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks again, Chris, for coming through, and we'll be talking to y'all soon.
Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all later.